Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty Show and our Week 10 recaps. Yes. Well, Week 10 was a little entertaining, and I wouldn't say it's too over the top, but needless to say, we have to get into some recaps, and let's get right to it. And our boy, yes, Kyler Murray. Oh, yeah. Kyler tore it up on the week Black Ops came out. No surprise there. To all those haters out there for Kyler and his enjoyment of the video game Call of Duty, I say bring a new one out every week for Kyler. Hell, every day for that matter. Woo! Kyler tore it up the week his new game came out. Check it out. 22 of 24 for 266 and a touchdown to Marv. 2 touchdowns on the ground on 21 yards as the Cardinals just blew out the Jets. I mean, this wasn't even close. Check the stats out here for the Cardinals-Jets game. Oh boy, let's do it this way because that's really not showing much. We'll do it this way. There we go. All right. So yes. Oh, do we start with? Well, we already gave you Kyler's line. Let's head on down to Marv. Marv here, 5 for 54, and the one-handed sweet touchdown grab. Don't worry about James Conner. All of you who may see the rushing total there for Conner, 12 for 33 and a touchdown. Had a sweet 44-yard grab early on in the match. Yes, do not fret about Trey Benson's work. In fact, if you can capitalize it and go ahead and trade for Conner on the cheap, maybe as a throw-in for a contending team, this is the perfect time to go out and buy James Conner for a late season push. Maybe if you have like Brandon Ayuk still on your roster and you're contending, throw Ayuk out there for like Mooney and Conner. Try that. Something along those lines. Conner still will produce. He is still the guy. Benson was just getting mop-up duty, basically, and ended up with those numbers. Go over to the Jets side of the ball. Yikes. Whew. We got here Aaron Rodgers. No interceptions, but, man, that's pretty much his MO. He was just throwing the ball away all day. 22 of 35 for 151. Mike Williams did catch a touchdown, but it wasn't from Rodgers. No, sirree. Garrett Wilson just 5 for 41. Devontae Adams, 6 for 31 on like 13 targets. Ugh. Breece Hall barely could save his day with 4 for 31 through the air, had just 52 yards on the ground. A good average, but, man, this offense is just yuck. So next week, let's see who these teams have. I don't want to buy into anything on this Jets team. It's just, the Aaron Rodgers experiment is just not going well. We'll just say that. Garrett Wilson, I guess I don't mind looking into a little bit. Jets take on the Colts, so we've got a nice, Joe Flacco got the reassurance from Shane Steichen today. We'll get into that mess a little bit later on, but the Jets host the Colts, so it'll be Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco circa 2013 would be nice, but unfortunately it's 2024, and And so that could be one damn ugly event going on next Sunday. Yikes, yikes, yikes. All right, let's get out of this matchup because we do not want to talk about the Jets here. All right, one of the other later games. Ooh, I know who we can talk about here. Yeah, one of the other later games had the Chargers hosting the Titans. And what does that mean? Well, that means, oh yes, that means our boy, Calvin Ridley, showed up big time. I say big time, I mean to the tune of 2 touchdowns on 5 for 84 and 9 targets. Calvin Ridley showed up for me in my 16-man league big time. Geez, before this week, I was contemplating between him and Ray McLeod. That's how things were going. Now, granted, that was before Drake London was cleared to play. But still, just the fact that I was contemplating starting Ray McLeod over Calvin Ridley just goes to show the depths that Ridley had fallen to. Now, I did a little more research and just decided to go with the strong hand and came up aces. Ridley, 2 touchdowns. Will Levis actually targeted him. So, in spite of the Titans falling to the Chargers, we had our day with our boy Calvin Ridley. Let's bring up the numbers here. For the Titans, Will Levis wasn't amazing. 18 of 23 for $175. The 2 touchdowns to Ridley on the ground. Tony Pollard got banged up. He was 9 for 44. Tajay Spears coming back, 7 for 47 on the ground. Not much else there for the Titans. Over to the Chargers, though, Justin Herbert had himself nice, solid performance. Just 164 yards, but a touchdown to Quentin Johnston once again. Also added a touchdown on the ground, 9 carries for 32 yards for Herbert. So we like to see that. Now, what we didn't like to see is the split carries in the backfield. So I think going forward, we can expect this with John Harbaugh's offense. Gus Edwards, 10 for 55. J.K. Dobbins, 15 for 50. That is rough. So now the question is, 2 for 24 for QJ. Is he for real? It's got, Quentin Johnston here. 5 touchdowns now on the season. Take a look at the game logs here. Okay. He's got 3 touchdowns in the last 5 games, back-to-back weeks. Last week had 118 yards against the Browns. But, the volume isn't there, but the good looks are. So I guess in deeper formats is where I'd say that, you can go ahead and plug them in. Best ball is ideally where you have them. I know that I traded for him in a best ball league last week, so I don't mind the touchdowns there. But, the rushing game for the Chargers is a little scary right now. And so I don't want to tell you to go out and buy J.K. Dobbins because Gus Bus stealing some action. Yikes. All right. Let's see the other late game. Oh, where is it? The other late game. Oh, God. Let's get through this one. All right. So Big D, not the big excitement that we were kind of hoping for, I guess, with Cooper Rush. Oof. No, it ain't it. Cooper Rush is not it. But before we get into too much of a sob story, let's at least take the good of that matchup. Eagles won 34-3. Jalen Hurts, he is back. Oh yeah, he looking spry. Yes, 7 for 56 and 2 touchdowns on the ground, 202 through the air. In some action to AJ Brown, 109 on 5 catches to AJB. Worried about playing this week, but he sure showed up. Let's give you the stat box here. Box score, I should say. Yes. Here we go. All right. There you can see AJ Brown 5 for 109. Saquon, not a huge day as they were comfortably in charge in the second half, so they didn't have to pound him. He finished with 66 yards on the ground. You can see the 2 touchdowns for Hurts. Over to the Cowboys side of the ball, yuck. I mean, they tried giving Trey Lance the whole fourth quarter. Wasn't much better. You know, he ended up with an interception. There was a fumble after one of the other catches. I think that was Jake Ferguson had the fumble. CeeDee, he's in trouble. 6 for 21 here. Next week, the Cowboys have, where are they? Oh, boy. Cowboys host the Texans on Monday Night Football. So, the Texans look solid for first half, at least against the Lions. Now, there'll be a different squad with the expected return of Nico Collins. With Nico, I think they might have been able to put away the Lions. But let's give credit where credit was due. The Lions are a strong bunch. And let's head over to the box score of that one. Give you some real action. Here we go. 26-23, the Lions prevailed in spite of 5 interceptions from Jared Goff. Still managed 2 touchdown passes, one to Laporta, the other to Amon-Ra during the comeback. John Bates, their kicker, drilling a 53-yarder, I believe it was, 52 or 53-yarder at the gun to get the Lions out of Houston with a victory. They outscored the Texans 19-0 in the second half. First half, C.J. Stroud looked strong, 232 touchdown. Finished the day with 2 picks, though, so you can tell he still ended up struggling without Nico Collins. Tank Dell just 5 for 39, but John Mechie stepped up, got a touchdown in the first half, 5 for 74. He was looking pretty solid. So Mechie wouldn't be a bad scoop, even with Nico Collins coming back. Wouldn't mind having John Mechie on the end of the bench, especially in best ball. Joe Mixon, 46 yards only, but got the touchdown in the first half. Just really couldn't get things going in the second half there, and that was the reason why the Texans weren't able to pull it out at home. Lions running backs were strong as usual. Monty had 32 yards and a touchdown. Gibbs, 71 yards on the ground. Added 37 through the air. Let's see here. Jamison Williams back in action, 3 for 53. So you can see the Lions spread it around. Just their 5 main guys got catches in this one. As you could see, Goff struggled for most of the night, but was able to pull it out in the end, showing the strength of the Lions and what did they keep repeating? The grit of the Detroit Lions, embodying their head coach, Dan Campbell, in this one. All right. Let's move on to some of the earlier games. Here we go. Check out the Saints hosting the Falcons, and Bijan Robinson is back on the map. Oh yeah, we'd like to see that, right? Let's go get our boy here. Yeah, there he is. All right, Bijan. Where are you? Let's see these numbers. Okay. 20 carries for $116 and 2. Gotta love it. 3 for 28 through the air. What can I say? Bijan's an auto start, right? They got the Broncos coming up next week. No matter what, I don't care about Tyler Algier. It's beautiful to see Bijan getting the work that he deserves to get. And our fantasy seasons depend on it, especially coming up with the playoffs just 4 weeks away. It's great to see Bijan getting the action he deserves. All right, so the rest of the Falcons, bringing up the box score here. All right, there we go. Okay, so Kirk Cousins on the day, a solid 23 of 38. Did have the interception. Like you can see, he wasn't able to get the job done in the end, though. Drake London, we all know, was questionable all week with that hip pointer. Finished with 8 for 97, so solid for those of you who stuck him in the lineup despite questionable tag. Darnell Mooney, a nice 5 for 96. Kyle Pitts ended up with 4 for 55 with a couple of grabs there on the last drive as the Falcons scrambled to try and get into field goal range, but fell just short. Last play, the guy was tackled in bounds, and so yeah, the Falcons came up short here to the interim coached New Orleans Saints, stepped up their game. First game without Dennis Allen. Derek Carr threw a couple touchdowns, both to, can you see it there? Yes, it's real. Both to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Is he a thing again? No. Okay, don't go scrambling the waiver wires, wasting fab on him. I mean, if he's out there in a best ball format, obviously you should have picked him up, because I don't know that he'll even get another touchdown rest of the way. But yeah, other than that, it was the Alvin Kamara show once again. 17 for 55 on the ground, 5 for 54 through the air, so over 100 yards again for Kamara. Taysom Hill got a little bit of action, 2 for 36. Also added 4 for 14 on the ground. But yes, that's all you need to know about the Saints is, yes, Alvin Kamara is still producing. His wrist injury seems to be just fine. All right. Who else we got from an earlier game? Yeah, let's head over to Bills visiting Indianapolis. Josh Allen, 22 of 37, 280. Rough day, though, with no touchdowns and 2 picks. He did get into the end zone on the ground, though, kind of saving his day. 8 for 50 on the ground for Allen. James Cook got in the end zone, 19 for 80. Receiving-wise, the Bills were without Keon Coleman, and so it was the normal for Khalil Shakir, 6 for 58. Mac Hollins stepped up, though, playing that Keon Coleman role, had 4 for 86. Amari Cooper just not finding the groove there with the Bills yet, so we'll see. It's hard to start him at all right now. Over to the Colts, though, as we mentioned, Joe Flacco earlier struggled. They're going to stick with him, though. Shane Steichen, that is. He wants to win now. So Flacco went 26 for 35 for 272, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, though. Crushed Colts' hopes. Jonathan Taylor, 21 for 114 on the ground. Most of that in the first half, though. He was right around 100 yards in the first half, and the Bills obviously focused their defense on stopping JT and said, Flacco, go ahead. You beat us. Let's see it, old man. And it wasn't happening. We'll see what the Jets D comes up with next week when they visit the Meadowlands. Through the air, Josh Downs still getting the looks. He had 7 for 72, but the rest of the, let's see, 80 Mitchell did get some work too, 6 for 71. But without Michael Pittman, you can expect those two to be the main guys. Alec Pierce did get into the end zone once again, probably the first time in quite a while. 4 for 81 for him. So basically, Josh Downs, you can start in your lineup leagues. The other two guys, though, stick to best ball with them. All right, let's get on over. Who are we looking at next? Who do we want to bring up here? Ooh, yeah, let's do this. You guys ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Were you ready? Were you ready for this out there? How many of you out there went ahead and jumped on this bandwagon before it came up? Huh? How many of you out there hopped on this guy? Because I got him in a few leagues. Now, I didn't go crazy and go out and trade for him right before. I had drafted this guy, and I am just happier than shit to have him on the squads I do. Very modest numbers here. 15 to 25, 184, touchdown and an interception, 24 yards on the ground for Drake May. But it's the way he's playing. And he brings an excitement to this Patriots offense that just wasn't there before. And, Jalen Polk got into the end zone on a short touchdown. But yes, this Patriots offense has life now. Next week, they'll be taking on the Rams at home. So, we'll see if he can build on this. I don't know how many games the Patriots actually want to win. I mean, they do want a good draft pick, but honestly, they just need to build up the offensive line. This coming off season, Drake May is the real deal. Over on the Bears side of things, oof, that's all I got to say. This offense, man, for all the excitement earlier on, this offense, I'm telling you, it is not looking good. A couple of weeks ago, everybody out there was saying, go ahead, go out and get, DeAndre Swift, go grab Rome Odunze. Now, I'm still on board with grabbing Rome Odunze because I do believe that Caleb Williams can turn this around. I just don't know that he's going to turn this around this year. So you're rebuilding. Rome Odunze is definitely somebody at target. But other than that, man, stay away. Stay away. Look at the numbers here. Keenan Allen, 5 for 44. DJ Moore, just 3 for 24. Odunze, 3 for 23. Cole Kmet, 2 for 13. All totals up to Caleb Williams going 16 to 30 for just $120. Took him forever to get over that total. 2 for 15 on the ground for Williams. 16 for 59 for Swift. This team just could not get into scoring range all day long. And, Bears will be, where are they going next week? Bears are going to stay home and host the Packers coming off a bye. So I'm sure that Matt LaFleur has been brewing up something for the Bears defense to have to handle. And on the defensive side of the ball, the Packers now had a whole week to prepare for this putrid offense. So I don't know that we are going to see anything better from this Bears team. So if you want to go ahead and try and buy low on Caleb Williams, that's on you. All right. I do not have any Caleb Williams shares. I've not been on the Caleb Williams hype train at all. But if I've got Roma Dunze, I guess, as a second or third quarterback, it's all right. But man, it's hard for me to say that this is the guy I want to invest in. I'd much rather be going after Drake May or even Bo Nix, honestly, at this point. So let's check out Bo Nix. What happened there in Kansas City? Well, let me tell you what happened there. It was about time for the Chiefs to finally go down. Did it happen? We all know by now it didn't. Broncos had a last-second 35-yard field goal attempt blocked. And so the Chiefs once again prevailed 16-14. Definitely wasn't Bo Nix's fault. I mean, sure, I guess he could have done more early on, but they were playing the Chiefs' monster defense. So for Bo Nix to go 22 of 30 for 215, 2 touchdowns, and no picks on the day is just a great stat line. Goes to show his resiliency. Got 6 for 70 and a touchdown to Cortland Sutton. Devon Bailey, 4 for 39 and a touchdown. Those obviously are his 2 favorite receivers now there. I don't know that there's enough volume to be buying heavily into either of them. Cortland Sutton, I guess, if you're looking for a 5th or 6th wideout. Definitely in best ball, those guys are okay because Bailey is super cheap. On the ground, though, it looks like it's Audric Estime's show now. Javonte Williams, just 1 carry for 1 yard. You can go ahead and cut him in any redraft formats if you haven't already. And check the waiver wires in all formats for Estime. Should have been picking him up last week based on the news. So you might be a little late to the party, but I'm sure not every league picked up Estime. Now, I'm not going bonkers over him because this offense, it truly is the Bo Nix show. Going over to the Chiefs side, it was the conservative, walk it down the field once again, boring narrative that the Chiefs love, but it wins games. And in the NFL, that is the bottom line. They are not playing fantasy football. Chiefs are just trying to win games, and that they are doing. Patrick Mahomes, 266 yards and a touchdown, 19 yards on the ground. Just another day at the office for old Patty. Kareem Hunt still getting things done. Ended up with a total of 100 yards on the day. Only 35 rushing, but 7 for 65 through the air. Travis Kelce is definitely back. This slow marching offense bodes well for Kelce. Without the explosiveness of Rashee Rice, they've reverted to this walk it down the field type offense. And it's boding well for Kelce and DeAndre Hopkins, who added 4 for 56. Kelce got into the end zone on a little 2-yard plunge. So still buy into them. Xavier Worthy, on the other hand, though, he is the odd man out right now. Redraft, you can go ahead and cut him. Dynasty, I am not excited. If you've got Xavier Worthy and somebody wants to go ahead and buy low on him, go ahead and take it, because I am not in on Xavier Worthy. And with Rashee Rice coming back next year, who's to say the Chiefs could easily draft another receiver in the 2nd round? So I am out on Xavier Worthy. I've never been in on Xavier Worthy. If you know me, didn't buy into it in the offseason. Just saw him as a burner. And I mean, he's not as bad as John Ross was. Okay. He's on a better offense. He was a better player in college. He has produced a little. All already. Definitely more than whatever John Ross ended up doing. But my point is that he's like Jameson Williams light right now. So it's going to be few and far between the opportunities for Xavier Worthy to be anything for you in fantasy. All right, let's move along here. Next up, we are going to head over to the Pittsburgh Washington game, probably the best game of the early slate, other than the finish to that Denver Kansas City game. I don't know that was one that was exciting to watch all day long, but definitely a good ending. And I can't believe that I'm bringing this guy up here, honestly, but it is happening. The Russell Wilson show is there, alive and well in Pittsburgh. I'm telling you, if you got Russ, you got him for a deal, and he is just going to town. Let's see here. Let me bring up his weekly finishes. I can't do that. Well, anyway, 18.6 in this format for Russ. If you're in a 6-point touchdown league, you can add another 6 points because Russ went only 14 for 28, but 195, 3 touchdowns and a pick on the day. Russ is running the offense like Mike Tomlin envisioned. George Pickens is benefiting, 5 for 91 and a touchdown, and hit the newly acquired Mike Williams for his only catch of the day, streaking down the sideline, telling him to just run go routes all day. Well, he caught the game winner, 32-yarder, and then the Steelers defense stepped up and held on strong. Meanwhile, on the other side, let's not forget the 53 yards on the ground from Najee and the touchdown, 66 for Jaylen Warren. So those two were splitting the carries up well and got over 100 yards together. It wasn't a pretty average for the Steelers backs, but they got the job done nonetheless. Over to Washington, they were without Brian Robinson, could have used him against the Steelers D. Austin Eckler kind of manned the backfield most of the day, 13 of 44, got in the end zone twice earlier on. Jeremy McNichols also added a touchdown, but through the air, it was a struggle for Jaden Daniels. The Steelers played a defense that cut off the running lanes for the young man. Only 3 carries on the day for, let's bring up this box score for you guys. There we go. All right. You can check it out here. Jaden Daniels, just 17 of 34, 202 through the air against the Steelers D. Only, there it is, 3 carries for 5 yards. So the Steelers D focused mainly on stopping Jaden Daniels and his explosiveness on the ground, and they got the job done there for sure. Terry McLaurin, though, boom. Man, this guy, I think it's safe to say that he is truly matchup proof now this year. If you haven't already gone out and tried to kick the tires on Terry McLaurin as a contender, you better do it quick, because I'm telling you, this guy is going to show up come playoff time, and he's just getting the job done. Depending on your format, he is easily a top 10 wide receiver this year, and it should continue because there is nothing but wide receiver 4s and 5s on this team with Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Olamide, Zacchaeus. There's nothing else there. Sure, Zach Ertz, but I mean, it is the Terry McLaurin show, and that is it. And Brian Robinson should be back next week, but just expect the same week in and week out. As long as McLaurin stays healthy, he is the guy. He is the man there in Washington this season. All right, let's check out the other matchups from earlier on Sunday. All right, we'll get to it. This one was brutal for my Buccaneers as they went down to the San Francisco 49ers, 23-20 on a last-second field goal for rookie Jake Moody, who had missed 3 field goals going into that last kick. Almost got a smack from Deebo Samuel, but nonetheless, he comes through in the end. Baker Mayfield's heroics couldn't quite pull it out for the Bucs. I don't know if you haven't seen it already, but watch the highlights on this. You'll see Baker hold off Bosa for like 10 yards and complete first down pass to Rachaad White on 4th and 7 to keep the drive alive, where the Bucs ended up kicking a field goal. Bucs got down inside the 10. They were down 20-17, got inside the 10. This was with under a minute to go. Couldn't punch it in. Decided to kick the field goal, which was probably the right call because it was 4th and goal from like the 9. So I don't blame Todd Bowles for kicking it this time. The time just didn't work out where we were able to run more clock down, so we ended up giving too much time to the Niners, and they walked down into field goal range to kick that game winner. Christian McCaffrey, of course, first game back, gets over 100 total yards, just 13 for 39 on the ground, but through the air, 6 for 68, doing Christian McCaffrey things. Didn't get into the end zone, though. So what we can garnish from this, though, is that his snap share was over 80%, so he is going to get a full workload. Deebo Samuel, 3 for 14 on the ground, 5 for 62 through the air, so he's getting the touches. Juwan Jennings showing up, 7 for 93, and then Ricky Pearsall with the touchdown, a 46-yarder, a sweet run after the catch on that one. 4 for 73 is what he finished with on the day. And then George Kittle caught a touchdown in the 4th quarter to put the Niners ahead at that time, 20-17. He ended the day with 3 for 57, so still salvaged his day there with that touchdown. Brock Purdy finished up the day with a solid 25 of 36, and of course shredded the Bucs defense. Start your guys against the Buccaneers. That's all I got to say. The Bucs have the next week off and will return to action against the Giants in New York in Week 12. Should see Mike Evans back, thank God. Problem is now the Bucs have to go like 7-0 or 6-1 the rest of the way to try and get into the playoffs. Schedule is easy. I believe the Chargers are the only team over 500 on the remainder of their schedule. So we'll see. Baker can keep it rolling on offense. I don't know if he can outscore what the defense is giving up, but we'll see here. Bucky Irving on the ground led the way, 13 of 73 for 73 and a touchdown. Rachaad White combined for 70 yards and a touchdown through the air. Kate Otten slowed his roll down a little, 5 for 35 only today, but you can see nothing really from the receiving core without Evans and Godwin. It is just putrid there for the Bucs. Baker ended up with only 116 yards passing. Evans will be back, though, in 2 weeks, so we hope to see better numbers there from Baker. All right, moving on. Just one more early game. This one was really ugly. Not a whole lot to say here. Ugliness from Sam Darnold, 3 picks. Justin Jefferson struggled there, 5 for 48. TJ Hawkinson, though, 8 for 72. He's back. On the ground, Aaron Jones was banged up all day, 17 for 88. Over to the Jaguars, without Trevor Lawrence, it was ugly. He scored early. Mac Jones punched one in, but he was just rough the rest of the day. 14 of 22 for 111 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Rough day for the Jaguars all around. Travis Etienne took over the backfield again, but only had 11 carries for 44 yards. 6 for 40 for Evan Ingram in the air. Brian Thomas with Mac Jones, it's going to be a rough ride the rest of the way. If you're a Brian Thomas owner, hopefully you sold high. In Dynasty, I wouldn't be selling out on him because Lawrence obviously will be back next year, but we don't know if Lawrence is going to be back this season. So, redraft, you might want to look for other avenues with Brian Thomas. Hopefully you can still sell him at a good price. But it's going to be a tough sell now with Mac Jones running the show. All right. Got one more game, and that was the Germany game. And our boy, yes, hold on. Let me go get him for you guys. Oh yeah, here he's Chuba. Yes. Fought it. Didn't put him up on the thumbnail. It was too much Kyler. But Chuba Hubbard getting paid earlier in the week, and he showed up big time for the Panthers. They were able to cash in on the Tyron Tracy fumble, first play of overtime, and then kick a field goal. Chuba, 153 on the ground and a touchdown, 4 for 16 through the air. Boy, Jonathan Brooks truthers out there. I don't know what to say for you. Personally, I did trade for him in a couple leagues around week 7 or 8, right before he was coming back. Now, I had Chuba in those leagues, so I'm not totally sad about it. Miles Sanders did go down, so expect Jonathan Brooks to actually be active for once next week, as the Panthers have been teasing us with Jonathan Brooks being active. Now the Panthers next week will, where are they? And they will be, are they on bye next week? Oh, so I guess we will have to wait another week for Jonathan Brooks, as the Panthers are on bye. Following week, they get the Chiefs at home. So we'll have to wait 2 weeks for the Jonathan Brooks show to emerge. But I don't think Chuba is giving up the reins just yet. Chuba's top 2 or 3 in the league in rushing yards. Bryce Young with an okay day, 15 to 25 for 126, a touchdown. That went to Jake T. Sanders, who continues his strong performance. Touchdown saved his day this time. He only had 2 for 8 otherwise. Jalen Coker looked like a thing early on, but then I don't know if he saw a target the rest after the first quarter. 3 for 41 there for Coker. Xavier Legette just 3 for 40. So none of these guys have really stepped it up since the trading of Deontay Johnson. But, Bryce Young has done enough to keep his job. So don't know if it's enough, though, to keep his job for next season. But he's going to have the opportunity yet on side of things here as I bring up the box score for you. Daniel Jones. That's another story. I don't know if he will keep his job. Giants have bye this coming week, so if there's any time to change the reins over to Drew Lock, this may be it. The Giants will host the Buccaneers in Week 12 when they're back in action. Tyrod Tracy's got the backfield now, 18 for 103 and a touchdown. Did have that fumble, though, in the overtime to kill things for the Giants, who made a comeback in the fourth quarter to get this one into overtime, but then, fumbled it away. Really, all we want out of this offense is just to throw it to Malik Neighbors, please, not Wan'Dale Robinson. Ugh. Wan'Dale finished 5 for 51. Neighbors just 6 for 50. Can't get into the end zone. Theo Johnson 4 for 37. So nice, decent young stash there for y'all. But Daniel Jones is just rough. So I definitely, for one, with my Malik Neighbors shares, wouldn't mind seeing a little Drew Lock, see what he can do. Maybe we'll get Malik Neighbors back on track. All right. If you've got any questions this week, start sit decisions, trade decisions, just throw me a little bone here, buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Also check out my Patreon. We'll have updated rankings this week. Patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Later this week, we'll come out with our updated college football top 25 rookie rankings. We'll do a little college football rundown for you, keep you up to date on the college football playoff rankings and who to look forward to draft in the 2025 rookie drafts for all of our dynasty leagues. Please check out those rankings, the college football rookie rankings for 2025 on my Patreon. Just $3 a month. Check it out. And with that, I will bid you adieu. It's been real. Guys, it was a wild week. Not as crazy as the last few, but what can I say? Y'all can't be crazy. So anyway, enjoyed it. Peace out. Thank you.